What you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew about reality. But before we begin, I need to ask something of you. If the synchronicities have been following you, if time has felt strange lately, if you've been waking at 3 a.m. with your heart racing, if everything in your life seems to be falling apart for no reason, then you're receiving the signal. And this video found you for a reason. This knowledge has been hidden for thousands of years, passed down only to initiates who proved themselves ready. Today, you're being initiated. But the algorithm won't show this to everyone. So if this resonates with something deep inside you, something you can't quite name, subscribe now. Ring the bell. Because once you understand the signal, you'll never see reality the same way again. And trust me, you'll want to be here for what comes next. Now, let's begin. There exists a moment before everything changes. A sacred pause in the fabric of existence where the universe whispers its secrets to those who have learned to listen. The mystics called it the threshold. The alchemists named it the nigredo, the blackening before transformation. But few have understood it as clearly as Genevieve Behrend, the only woman ever personally trained by Thomas Troward in the science of mental imaging. In 1912, when Behrend sailed from America to England with only her faith and determination, she was responding to a signal. She didn't know it then, but the universe had already prepared her path. The synchronicities that led her to Troward, the seemingly impossible circumstances that aligned perfectly, these were not coincidences. They were the ancient signal manifesting in her reality. Behrend discovered what the Hermetic masters had encoded in their texts for millennia. Consciousness doesn't just observe reality, it constructs it. And before a new reality can be born, the old one must send its final transmission. The frequency of dissolution. Reality is not solid. It never has been. What you perceive as fixed and permanent is merely energy vibrating at specific frequencies, held together by the collective agreement of consciousness. The Vedic scriptures called this Maya, the grand illusion. But illusion doesn't mean false, it means malleable. When your consciousness begins to vibrate at a new frequency, the old reality cannot hold. It begins to crack. And in those cracks, the signal appears. The signal is not gentle. It arrives as disruption, as chaos, as the dissolution of everything you thought was permanent. Your relationships fracture. Your career loses meaning. Your beliefs crumble. The structures you built your identity upon reveal themselves as temporary constructions. This is not punishment. This is preparation. Genevieve Behrend wrote in Your Invisible Power that we must learn to visualize not from desperation but from the feeling of wish fulfilled. But before we can embody that fulfillment, we must release our grip on the old story. The signal arrives to loosen that grip, to show us that what we thought was reality was only one possibility among infinite others. The ancient Egyptian mystery schools understood this. Their initiation rituals placed candidates in complete darkness for 3 days, sensory deprivation designed to dissolve the ordinary reality. In that void, the initiate would receive visions, messages, downloads of information from dimensions beyond the physical. They called this dying before death, the voluntary surrender of the known world. When you recognize the signal in your own life, you stand at the same threshold those ancient initiates crossed. The question is not whether you will cross it, the shift has already begun. The question is whether you will cross it consciously or be dragged through kicking and screaming. The 7 manifestations. The intensification of synchronicity. Numbers follow you. 1111 burns into your awareness at precise moments. You think of someone and they appear. A song plays with lyrics that answer your unspoken question. Books fall from shelves opened to exact passages you need. The universe is speaking in code, and suddenly you understand the language. This is not magic in the supernatural sense. It is the natural result of your consciousness aligning with a new frequency. As Behrend taught, the invisible realm responds to clear mental images held with feeling. When a reality shift approaches, the veil between visible and invisible thins. Your thoughts manifest faster. Your intentions ripple through the field of possibility with greater force. The synchronicities are proof that you are no longer operating solely in linear causality. You have begun to access the quantum field where all possibilities exist simultaneously. The distortion of time. Hours vanish. Days blur. You wake at 3:33 a.m. repeatedly, pulled from sleep by an invisible force. Or you experience the opposite. Minutes stretch into eternities, each moment heavy with presence. Linear time is the architecture of the third-dimensional reality. As you prepare to shift, your consciousness begins experimenting with non-linear perception. You catch glimpses of simultaneous time, where past, present, and future coexist. The mystics called this kairos time, sacred time, the eternal now. Einstein proved it mathematically. Your experience of time dilation is evidence that you are loosening from the time-bound reality and beginning to operate from the timeless. The dissolution of identity. Who are you without your story? Without your job, your relationships, your achievements, your failures? The signal forces this question upon you mercilessly. You look in the mirror and the face seems foreign. Your own voice sounds strange. The personality you've worn like a costume suddenly feels too tight, suffocating. This is the ego dissolution that every spiritual tradition describes, but now it's happening to you, uninvited and relentless. Behrend spoke of becoming the thing we desire. But to become something new, the old must die. Not metaphorically, actually. The neural pathways that held your old identity must be pruned. The energetic signature you broadcast must be rewritten. This process is uncomfortable because you are literally dying while remaining alive. The Buddhist monks meditate on corpses for this reason, to familiarize themselves with impermanence, to release the illusion of a fixed self. You don't need to visit charnel grounds. The signal brings the lesson directly to you. The withdrawal from the collective. Suddenly, you cannot tolerate small talk. Social gatherings drain you instantly. People you've known for years feel like strangers. You withdraw, not from depression, but from necessity. You are tuning to a different frequency, and the old frequency now creates dissonance. This is the hermit phase, the cocoon stage. Every butterfly knows it. Every mystic has lived it. In solitude, the real work happens. Away from the noise of collective consciousness, you can hear the whisper of your own soul. You can feel the new reality trying to birth itself through you. This isolation is temporary but essential. The caterpillar cannot become a butterfly while remaining social with other caterpillars. The amplification of sensitivity. Lights seem brighter. Sounds are sharper. You feel other people's emotions as if they were your own. Energy moves through your body in waves, heat, cold, tingling, pressure. Your nervous system is upgrading. The dense physical body is becoming a more refined instrument capable of perceiving subtler dimensions. What the yogis call siddhis, the psychics call clairvoyance, the scientists call heightened proprioception, they all describe the same phenomenon. Genevieve Behrend emphasized that we must cultivate mental awareness. As the signal intensifies, this awareness extends beyond mind into full-body knowing. You begin to sense the invisible currents that move beneath surface reality. This sensitivity can feel overwhelming. You are becoming an antenna for frequencies you previously couldn't detect. The adjustment period is challenging, but the gift is immense. You are developing the perception needed to navigate the new reality consciously. The collapse of old structures. Jobs end abruptly. Relationships that seemed solid shatter. Health issues force you to stop and reassess. Financial foundations crumble. Everything you built begins to fall away. This is not bad luck. This is surgical precision. The universe is removing everything not aligned with your new frequency. Every structure built from fear, obligation, or false identity must collapse. Only what is authentic to your soul's true nature can cross the threshold with you. The ancient tower card in tarot depicts this perfectly. Lightning striking the tower, people falling, foundations destroyed. This card terrifies people, but initiates understand its gift. The false must be destroyed so the true can be built. Behrend wrote, "We must make room in our lives for what we desire." The signal makes room by force when we won't do it voluntarily. The void space. Then comes the darkest phase, the void. Nothing makes sense anymore. The old reality has collapsed, but the new hasn't yet materialized. You exist in liminal space, between worlds, belonging nowhere. This is the dark night of the soul that Saint John of the Cross described. The Bardo state of Tibetan Buddhism. The Nigredo of alchemy. Every tradition knows this passage, and every tradition warns, this is the most dangerous and most sacred moment. In the void, there is no guidance, no signs, no synchronicities. Only silence. Only darkness. Only the unbearable uncertainty of not knowing. Most people panic here and rush back to the old reality, even if it was killing them. They remarry the same type of person. They return to soul-crushing jobs. They resurrect dead belief systems. Anything to escape the void. But the initiates know, the void is not empty. It is pregnant with all possibilities. It is the quantum field before collapse into form. It is God before creation. It is your consciousness in its purest, most powerful state. Sit in the void. Do not run. This is where the real transformation occurs. The invisible power. Genevieve Behrend titled her masterwork, Your Invisible Power, because she understood what most humans never grasp. The visible world is the effect, never the cause. The cause exists in the invisible realm of consciousness, imagination, and feeling. When the signal appears, you are being invited to become a conscious creator rather than an unconscious reactor. You are being called to master the invisible power within you. Behrend's technique was revolutionary in its simplicity. Visualize what you desire as if it already exists, feel the feeling of wish fulfilled, and maintain that vibration until reality has no choice but to reorganize around it. But here is what she understood that most miss. You cannot create a new reality while clinging to the old one. The signal arrives to force the release. Every synchronicity is training you to trust the invisible. Every time distortion teaches you that linear time is optional. Every identity dissolution strips away the false self that was blocking your power. Every moment of sensitivity is calibrating your instrument. Every collapsed structure is clearing space. Every second in the void is rebuilding your consciousness from the ground up. You are not losing your mind. You are being initiated. The threshold crossing. There comes a moment, sudden and unmistakable, when something shifts. You can't explain it, but you know. The air feels different. Colors are more vivid. A weight you didn't know you were carrying lifts. You have crossed the threshold. The old reality hasn't changed, but your relationship to it has transformed completely. What terrified you now seems manageable. What you thought you needed, you no longer want. Who you thought you were has been revealed as a character you were playing. The new reality doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It emerges quietly, naturally, inevitably. Opportunities appear. The right people arrive. Resources flow. Not because you forced anything, but because you finally aligned with your true frequency. Behrend manifested the exact amount of money she needed to study with Troward, $20,000 in 1912, an enormous sum, through pure visualization and faith. She didn't know how it would come. She didn't manipulate or scheme. She simply held the vision and feeling until reality caught up with her consciousness. This is what becomes possible after you cross the threshold. Not because you've gained new power, but because you've removed the interference that was blocking the power you always had. The continuous spiral. But here is the final secret. The shift never ends. Reality doesn't shift once and then remain fixed. Consciousness is always expanding, and with each expansion comes a new signal, a new threshold, a new death and rebirth. The mystics who achieved enlightenment didn't arrive at a destination. They committed to the continuous process of transformation. Each level of awakening prepares you for the next. Each reality you inhabit eventually becomes too small for your growing consciousness. The signal will appear again. Perhaps in months, perhaps in years. And when it does, you'll recognize it immediately. The synchronicities, the time distortions, the dissolution, the void, you'll know them as old friends now. And this time, you won't resist. You'll release your grip on the known and step willingly into the mystery. Because you'll have learned the greatest secret. You are not the person reality happens to. You are the consciousness through which reality happens. The ancient signal doesn't appear before your reality shifts. The ancient signal is your own consciousness, calling you home to your infinite nature. When the ancient sign appears, it doesn't come to impress. It comes to prepare. It's a silent reminder that life doesn't change from the outside in, but from the inside out, exactly as Genevieve Behrend taught. If you are noticing this call, this subtle vibration, this feeling that something is moving around you, don't ignore it. Reality never gives warnings by chance. The sign is confirmation that your inner world has already aligned with a new possibility, and that the next step is simply to allow it. Remember, every reality that approaches first touches you as an intuition. The future always arrives in the energy field before it arrives in matter. And now, the question is, will you listen to this sign? Will you follow what it awakens within you? If this video spoke to you in any way, if something within you recognized this call, subscribe to the channel to continue receiving teachings like this. And like the video so that this message reaches more people who need to hear it. The journey continues. And the signal is just beginning. And it has been calling since the moment you were born. The question is, will you finally answer?